Hello everybody, my name is Melannie Rivera Agosto, and for today's presentation I will be talking about sensitivity analysis as a tool for capital budgeting. First, what is a sensitivity analysis and a capital budgeting? A sensitivity analysis is a tool that helps companies and managers to be prepared if a project doesn't perform as expected and figure out another plan before deciding to financially invest on the project. And a capital budgeting is the process of figuring out the ways to spend money on long-term projects that will make a business more valuable. This can include buying new equipment, constructing buildings, or developing new products. Now let's talk about the qualitative steps in a sensitivity analysis. The first step is to identify the key variables such as the costs, revenues, and economic factors that come into the analysis. The second step is to establish a range of variation which is based on historical data or expert estimates to define plausible ranges for key variations rather than using precise numerical data. These steps help in understanding the potential variability and uncertainty in the variables. The third step is to determine the base case, which provides a reference point for comparing different scenarios based on experts' judgment and experience rather than purely quantitative measures. This step sets a reference point for comparing how changes in key variables affect outcomes for upcoming projects. The fourth step is searching for objectives of the capital budgeting project, which helps evaluate how different factors affect the outcome of a capital budgeting decision, such as changing some variables at a time and see little by little how it impacts the net present value or the internal rate value of return of the project. The last step will be the researching and identifying potential risks, which is important because it involves subjective judgment and have an expert insight to determine which variable could significantly impact the project outcomes. This step focuses on understanding the nature and source of risk rather than quantifying their effects. Now let's talk about the quantitative steps in a sensitivity analysis. The first step is to create a sensitivity model, which involves developing a mathematical model that quantifies the relationships between variables and calculates how changes in these variables affect the project's outcomes. The second step is to analyze impact on outcomes, which involve adjusting each variable, such as costs, revenues, discount rates, and project timelines within its range while keeping the others constant. Each variable must be handled one at a time to prevent any potential risk with the upcoming project. The third step is to interpret the results, which is identifying the key factors that lead to critical results, such as price, manual labor, or costs, and evaluate the risks such as market risk, changes in market conditions affecting revenue or costs, the operational risk, the variability in operating costs or efficiency, the financial risks, which are fluctuation in interest rates, exchange rates, or critical availability, and project-specific risks, which are uncertainties unique to project context or environments. The fourth step is to minimize risk. This is important because by quantifying the potential impact of each variable and assessing strategies to mitigate their adverse effects on project outcomes. The last step will be calculating the NPV and the RR, which will help measure how changes in variables affect project profitability, providing clear financial impact to decision making. Now let's talk about incorporating risk into capital budgeting. All capital budgeting methods rely on assumptions and estimates about a project's future performance. Managers use these calculations to make decisions, but these assumptions can be wrong, leading to unexpected outcomes. For instance, instead of making a profit in the second year, the project might only break even due to poor economic conditions. The risk assessment methods helps identify and evaluate potential project risks in capital budgeting, such as market violations or operational disruptions, to make more information investment decisions. Next is adjusting discount rates account for the potential risk involved can help increase the uncertainties associated with the riskier projects. This will help lower the present value of expected cash flow, making it crucial for project profitability. Next is the risk adjustment MPV, which provides a more accurate picture of a project viability by incorporating risk factors such as modified cash flow or discount rate for risk. Lastly, will be the Monte Carlo simulation, which is a technique used to understand the impact of risk and uncertainty for any upcoming project. In conclusion, the sensitivity analysis is a powerful tool that helps us understand how different changes can affect our projects. By identifying and focusing on the most important factors, we can make smarter decisions and better manage risk. Using techniques like spreadsheets and simulations, we can plan for various scenarios and stay prepared for the future projects. These are all my references. Thank you for everybody to listen.